Hello, my friends. I'm going to show you how to very quickly get the Lurker IRC client set up on Digital Ocean. So if you're on the Lurker repo, and if you don't know, Lurker is like a super cool IRC client that you self-host. But anyway, if you're on the repo, if you come down here to deploy on Digital Ocean, there's some instructions. So we're going to be going over this right now. So step one is you want to bring up the code for this script. And then you can copy it right here on GitHub. And then you go over to DigitalOcean. You want to create a droplet. It's easiest if you pick a Docker droplet, which means you need 25 gigs of space. Go to regular to get the cheap ones. $6 is the cheapest you can do. Do whatever you want here, doesn't matter to me. And then down here, this is important, you do startup scripts. And this is where you paste in the script that you copied earlier. So we paste that in, and then we want to scroll back up because there are two things that you have to fill in. One is you have to set a domain. So I'm going to put this at irc.stairs.org. And then a little bit further down, there's admin email. So this is important for the Let's Encrypt certificate as well as web push notifications. You need a functioning email address here just in case things go haywire and someone has to reach out to tell you to shut down your Lurker instance if I wrote bad code or something. All right, and that's all you have to do here. At this point, we can hit Create Droplet. All right, and now we need to wait for it to come online until there's a public IP address. So at this point, I'm going to pause it, and I'll come back to you once there's an IP address here. Okay, the IP address has shown up, so now I want to copy this IP address, and then I want to go into my DNS for my domain, wherever that is for you. Might be different. And I want to create this record. On Cloudflare, I'm saying don't proxy it, but maybe you want to. But maybe, I don't know. Do you. So I'm going to save that. All right, and so now what's happening in the background, we can't see that it's happening, but in the actual droplet, Caddy is checking over and over again to see if the DNS records are there. So we can see that if we want to, if we open up the web console, well, we can see that things might be working. Okay, well, if the droplet agent was working, then we could see it, but it's not working. So just for now, I'm going to pause it for a minute, and then I'll come back once things should be good to go. So sometimes this just takes a couple minutes. Okay, so I can connect to the web console now, and so I can show you what I was originally going to show you. So you come to the web console. There's a little tip in the README. It says that there are logs in var Lurker deploy logs. So we're going to look at that real quick. So if we go into here, we can see cat. All right, and then we can see that, it's still setting up the firewall. Okay, there we go. Okay, so it was setting up the firewall when we checked right now, and now it's done. It says Lurker deploy finished, Lurker's running. Point the DNS record at the IP address if you haven't already, which we have. So at this point, it might be good to go. So I'm going to open up a private window, and we'll go to irc.stairs.org. And there we go. We're up and running. So at this point, we want to type in our username. Password, fart barf. That's my password that I use all across the whole internet, just in case you're curious. Fart barf. It protects all of my banking accounts, like everything. So don't remember I said that. Forget it. Anyway, so create account. I'm not going to say password. Okay, so this might be a spot where you want to pause. If you are using Lurker on another instance and you want to import your settings from that instance into this one, stop here and go to settings, go to data, and then this is where on the other instance you would export your data to a zip file, and then this is where you would import it into this instance. But I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to show you getting the server working. So I'm going to go to add, and I'm going to do Libra. IRC, Libera, whatever it is. And then for my name, I'm going to do Amiantos4. And then for Libera, because we're on DigitalOcean, they don't let you connect to IRC without being authenticated. So you have to create authentication through a normal IRC client somewhere, and then you can go in here and then put in your account info. fart barf. That was my password, of course. And so now I'm going to hit save and connect. And click on the server buffer and see it connecting. All right, says that we are connected. There we go. Hello from the Lurker setup tutorial video. And see, does it work? Let me see. Oh yeah, look, hello from the Lurker tutorial setup video. How cool is that? All right. So there you go. You've got a full-blown Lurker instance set up in just a couple minutes. Enjoy.